last few years in this part of Kansas, the white-tailed deer population has gone down. Also, the bucks have gotten smaller and harder to find. Kurt Goring, a farmer who lives east of Westmoreland, has in the last few years started hunting more faithfully. He started targeting older bucks and does and deer who have been hit by a car or shot with a non-fatal shot. And he has also started to shoot bucks that have bad racks that would be bad for the gene pools. In my speech today, we'll talk about 3 reasons why more hunters ought to help conservation efforts. First, we'll talk about why you shouldn't shoot old, sick, and injured deer instead of a healthy deer, especially when hunting for meat. Then I'll talk about ways hunting can be conservation and why it'll help. Finally, I'll talk about the ways conservation hunting has helped increase animal populations. After listening to my speech today, hopefully you will understand more about why conservation hunting is a good thing. First of all, we'll talk about reasons to shoot old, sick, and genetically poor deer. According to Outdoor Life magazine, instead of taking a young buck, a hunter can shoot an older buck. The older buck wouldn't be helpful in reproduction anyway, because it's been proven that while the older bucks are fighting, the young buck will sneak in off the edge of the field and reproduce together. According to Dr. Bronson Strickland, professor at Mississippi State University, if a hunter sees something seriously wrong with a deer, it's the hunter's responsibility to kill it and save it from suffering a long and painful death. According to John Ozaga, a wildlife researcher, hunters should care about genetics. If a buck has an extremely closed rack, then he needs to be taken out of the gene pool, because a buck with a larger rack or a wider rack can reach around and stab him with one of his talons. Now we will talk about conservation hunting and the ways it'll help remove unwanted species. The Nature Conservancy, an organization dedicated to preserving wildlife, said hunters can hunt invasive species extensively to both help get rid of them and help preserve resources for native species. According to Hog Stoppers, a company that actively tries to trap and kill wild hogs like the hogs in Texas, if more people trapped and hunted wild hogs, more people hunted and trapped wild hogs, they could help reduce the populations, which would help the economy because they wouldn't destroy as much crops and cropland. According to the Nature Conservancy, if a hunter kills more pythons in Florida, it would keep the pythons from wiping out native species. Finally, we'll talk about how conservation hunting can increase animal populations. According to CNN News, this is happening in Africa. Private landowners in Africa have started reintroducing white rhinos on their own lands to raise populations because they are an endangered species. In a more local sense, there are several farms that raise quail and pheasant to release and hunt. Not all of the quail and pheasant are killed, so they reproduce and repopulate an area. One example of a farm who raises these birds is Kansas City quail and wild game birds. Even on my own land, I've released quail to help build populations. We believe that some of them have stuck around and reproduced. In my speech today, we talked about 3 reasons why hunters ought to help conservation efforts. First, we talked about why you should shoot old, sick, and genetically poor deer. Then I talked about why conservation hunting can help get rid of unwanted species. Finally, I talked about how hunting has encouraged people to start releasing new animals and build populations. Through Kirk's efforts, he has successfully increased populations and made the genetics a lot better, as well as making his hunting experience a lot more enjoyable.